Are you struggling to share your feelings? Is this holding you back? Is this getting you down? Hi guys, it's JT here, and I want to go through with you another leadership dilemma and how you can bring the leadership ability to your life. So this is all about sharing your feelings. So before I want to get into this, I want to tell you a little bit of story about myself. So I spent most of my teens, so call it the troubled teens or whatever you want to call it, not really being in touch with my feeling side of myself. I was always up here on the logic side of things. And when I looked back on this now, I thought, well, maybe this could be because I never really had the best relationship with my siblings, with cousins, with friends, with family. And I always felt it is because I believed I thought differently to them. I felt differently to them. I thought I was someone else. I thought I wasn't very connected to that person. But I never really found a way to express that or to kind of really get over that feeling. Or thought process, more like for me back in the day, was more of a thought process. It's very logical. What I found later on in life is as I went through a journey of trying to become authentic, so this is where the leadership stuff comes into it, trying to discover my authentic self, I found that I was spending too much time up here and not enough time down here. So more logical and not enough feeling, right? And what I discovered was that actually this is because most of the time people see that as vulnerability. When if you look in the workplace, if we constantly talk about our feelings, people will see that as a vulnerability, and often the way we've been taught is we are shown as vulnerability equals weakness, and that really isn't the case. We're discovering this more and more in our lives, in the workplace, in our relationships with our friends, trying to discover your authentic self. Vulnerability does not equal weakness, and that's something that's really important to understand. So as I was going on my journey, what I found was that I needed a way to get this stuff out, so get out of here. And for me, I found I had two ways of doing this. So this is the tool, this is the leadership tool with the leadership ability. So the ability is the behavior is authenticity, and the tool to try and get your feelings out. So use this. So if you're in a tough situation and you feel that you're constantly being brought down by your feelings, but you're keeping them inside, so bottling them up, and you don't really know what to do with them. Now you could cry, you could break down, you could have panic attacks, you could have anxiety, all kinds of things could happen from doing this and bottling up emotions. You can use this tool, and I'm just not guaranteed going to work for you, but it worked for me. And it's something that was really, really powerful. So that's why I want to share it with you. And I'm pretty sure, no, you know what? I'm damn sure it will work for you. So this is the two tools. So the first tools is learning how to talk to yourself. So when I did this, I talk to myself a lot now. So when I'm in the car, when I'm on the train, when I'm walking to the station, when I'm walking to and from work, when I'm going to and from a meeting, I talk to myself. What I found was that I had to get comfortable with who I was, and by doing that I had to practice talking through how I felt. So I started with a logical thought process, but then started to ask myself questions about how that actually felt. So I was trying to learn to get out of here and more down into here, so out of the thought process into the logical feelings. When I was going through this process, this journey of getting comfortable with who I was starting to discover that perhaps people see my vulnerability as weakness. So I started to test this out a little bit. I trialed a few things. I started to share, because I was comfortable now talking to myself after a few months. I started to share with other people, and what I discovered was that people actually related to that. So this is colleagues, this is friends, this is family, this is people I'm close to in my relationship. People connected better to me when I shared vulnerabilities. Now, here's a very important tip on this, a very important thing that you need to remember. Sharing vulnerability and complaining are two different things. Now, so opening yourself up to someone and being open with them about a vulnerability or something that you're afraid of or something that's you're anxious of, and then trying to talk through it, or just asking for someone to listen to you, is different to just complaining about everything in your life. That's something very important to remember. The second tool, and this is journaling. Now, you used to probably hear a lot of things about journals and writing things down out there and everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere, people selling journals because it works. Now, for me, I done journaling in a little bit of a different way. So like I said, I spoke through things. So often it's hard to allocate time to journaling because you think, why am I writing this down? It might seem difficult at first. So for me, what I did was got comfortable with talking through my problems to myself and finding ways to overcome that problem, but then blogged it. So I wrote my journals in forms of blogs. That is how I decided to journal. Now, you can use a journal book, you could do it in a blog format, you could do it on Instagram. But remember, there's a difference between showing vulnerability and working through it, and which is different to complaining. So that's something very important to remember. So that's two leadership ability tools that can really help you, and I know they will. So if you're first struggling with journaling and struggling with writing things down, get comfortable with talking to yourself. So whether this is in the car, whether you're on the train, whether you're walking to and from the station, record yourself. Use your phone. Go into voice memos and record yourself. Get comfortable about talking through your vulnerabilities and then trying to work out yourself how you can see the positives in those vulnerabilities and how you can then move forward with that. If you're getting that sticking point where you're struggling with positive thinking to move forward, that's the point where you can maybe go speak to a friend or someone close that you trust, someone who you know who's not going to look down at you or say bad thing or judge you, someone who's just going to be there for you, maybe listen, maybe ask you a couple of questions. In these circumstances, coaches can also be very, very powerful, helping you see where you want to be and seeing your potential and helping you realize that through results. And then journaling. Once you get more comfortable, you can then journal, writing things down in a book or blogs or on Instagram or on social media, but as long as you do it in a positive way, that's going to help you and help others. I hope that brought value to yourself and had a positive impact on you. Thank you very much for listening. This is JT signing out.